Welcome back inside the Now Morning Show. So happy that you're here with us on a beautiful Friday morning as we continue to wrap up Carnival 2024. This morning we're chatting with the CEO of CEPEP, Mr. Keith Eddy, joins us on set to let us know a little bit about how the cleanup efforts went this time around for Carnival 2024. Good morning to you, Mr. Eddy.
Good morning to you, and let me say good morning to the viewing public and also good morning to my CEPEP family.
How are you doing this morning?
I am fine.
How you feel after the Carnival 2024?
Accomplished,
yeah?
proud, having seen the way that these workers go about doing their work, the enthusiasm, the spirit, wanting to perform and make sure that the nation is clean is always a good thing for me to see and something for me to be proud of.
Nice. Before we get into the details of what it takes to clean up after Carnival 2024, generally after Carnival, tell me a little bit about the general work that CEPEP does, for those who may not be fully aware of the range of what CEPEP does.
Right. So CEPEP stands for really Community-Based Environmental Protection Enhancement Program. So it's really more about enhancing and beautifying the environment and really working with communities to sort of build that pride in communities. Because one of the things that we do is we look for green spaces in communities because we feel that your environment has a lot to do with how your outlook. So if we can enhance the environment, then maybe some of the things that we're seeing that are negative will start to go away. So CEPEP works within all communities in Trinidad. CEPEP Tobago is a little bit different. It's run a little bit differently, but Trinidad, CEPEP works within the communities.
All right, fantastic. And generally, approximately how many people are employed by CEPEP?
We have about 320 contractors.
Right.
And then within that, we have probably about 9,700 contractor workers.
Okay,
so they're all contracted to CEPEP.
Right.
In terms of the CEPEP family itself, the internal CEPEP family, we probably have about 124 workers.
Okay.
And that engine room, which nobody sees, is a bunch of professionals and various departments like health and safety.
And handling the administrative side
and that
kind of thing. Fantastic. Yes. So tell me what it takes from firstly that CEPEP family, the internal team that organizes the logistics, that organizes the administrative stuff. What does it take to be able to successfully accomplish cleaning up during and after Carnival?
Yeah, it's an effort. We've been working with NCC for quite a while.
Right.
Over the last 2 years, we've joined up with Port of Spain Corporation to do the cleaning of the city. So we have about 50 internal staff that gets involved, from the operations people, the supervisors, the field officers that go out, make sure that the workers are doing what they need to do. We have finance people, we have HSE people. So it's a whole cadre of work people that sit behind the scenes that manage the whole thing to ensure that we get the results that we saw last year and the beautiful results that we saw this year.
Tell me a little bit about some of the health and safety things that are required, because I don't think people take it for granted. I know I probably take it for granted as well, what's required when it comes from a health and safety perspective for CEPEP.
Right. So you would notice that they would have on these vests, right? And that's really a part of the health and safety. Because we're working at nights, we want to make sure that people actually see us out on the streets. My background comes from the energy.
Right.
So I am very firm on
health and
safety. So we have a department, and we have field officers who we train. So on a daily basis, when you see the crews out there, we have to make sure that when they're using the machinery, that they wear their masks, that they have the required PPE on, and that we're able to talk to them so that they understand that what we're trying to achieve is that when you come to work, you leave and you go home safely to your family.
Of course.
So in a lot of instances, you have to kind of repeat those things, because when you develop habits that are not so good in terms of health and safety, you have to make people understand. And one of the ways we do that is really letting them know that when you hurt yourself, you could be hurting a whole generation, basically. You could be hurting a whole family. So you need to understand that this is not, it might feel uncomfortable initially, but it is not CEPEP forcing you to do something. It's really in your best interest to be able to wear the safety gear and to follow safety rules. Because we work on the sides of roads and that kind of thing, so you would see the signs.
Yeah, I've also noticed, one of the interesting things I've noticed over the last couple of years as well is the inclusion of the barriers when they cut in grass and things like that, meant to protect cars, I assume.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, and that's an initiative that's also falling under health and safety.
That's right, yes.
This is fantastic. All right, so when it comes to what planning processes we put in place for cleaning up Carnival itself, I noticed people Carnival Monday evening, during the day on Tuesday, I noticed people cleaning up constantly as Carnival was going on. Was that purposely done?
Yes, it is. And then we really start with the shows.
Right.
Where we go to the savannah, we make sure that the toilets and stuff are clean. We make sure that when the stage is dirty, that's
CEPEP responsible for blowing off the stage and everything?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
That's good.
So we start very early.
Yeah.
And the planning stage, really, we have a business development unit. And the business development unit really is to go out and seek additional monies for the company. So apart from we operate on subvention, but that unit is a separate unit that we say, look, let's try and earn some money on our own.
Right.
So hence we sign contracts with the NCC and with the corporation, but we also do contracts with Lara Stadium and different things.
Because I was just about to ask, can a private promoter hire CEPEP to come and do cleanup for their event?
Yes, we take on those things. We do trickle. There's a number of, if you go on the website, there are a number of things that we offer that falls under that business development unit.
Okay.
So that's where the planning starts.
Right.
Once that happens, we go into the planning. The business development unit and the operations department actually work in tandem because they get the contracts, they secure the contracts, and the operations people have to execute.
Right.
So we have field people called field officers. We have regional coordinators who are in charge of regions, and then we have a supervisor at a higher level.
Right.
And so they have to sit down now and basically plan out how many teams we need. And I want to go away. I hear people calling them gangs. We call them teams.
I mean, historically, we know why. However, I'm really curious as to, do you have to get additional teams just for Carnival, or you can use the same people who are usually regularly employed and contracted under CEPEP?
We actually pull from the regularly employed contractors.
Okay.
So we don't need to do that. This year we had maybe from the northern region. So we have like Northwest, Northeast, Central. So we pull teams from those areas. And those are the teams that actually work. So we don't need to go out and get more teams.
All right. So these teams now would be working more than they would usually work on a regular basis. That
is correct. That's what we call like special projects.
Right.
So there's a different way that we handle this. There's a different rate that we pay them.
And that the part is also very interesting, because I know people often wonder, how much additional cost is there involved when it comes to doing this particular cleanup, the Carnival cleanup, being, like you say, from the shows beforehand to the actual parade and Ash Wednesday.
Yes.
Tell me what the costs look like generally.
So in terms of the contracts, we probably, when we sign those contracts between Port of Spain Corporation, which VAT inclusive, it's probably about $1 million. And then with NCC, over the shows and everything, it's probably around about $3.5 million.
So we could estimate, let me say, around
$4.5 million in total.
Yeah.
And then what we do is that monies are used to manage the program,
right,
and also to pay the workers and the contractors.
Okay.
And what you would find is that not just the workers are out there in the night. I mean, I was downtown Wednesday morning, and there were contractors actually out there with the workers.
Nice.
So that is really encouraging to see.
Yeah.
And it just baffles me, really. I mean, it's seeing how these people perform and do the work, and then you wake up on Ash Wednesday morning, you could never know that there was a Carnival festivities that took place, I think so. And I have to thank the public, because I went onto Facebook and I was seeing a lot of positive feedback, and so thanks for that. And, CEPEP will continue to do their best to ensure that we keep the country and the environment clean.
One of the things, of course, we had the ban on bottles during the Carnival period.
Yes.
But I did notice lots and lots of plastic. And somebody raised the concern to me as to what happens to all this plastic. So CEPEP is cleaning up all this plastic. Do we put it into bags? Do we pile it up into heaps and burn it? What do we do with all the rubbish?
So in terms of the plastics is an issue. Because plastics is not something that you could get rid of easily. And you'd believe when we do beach cleanups, the amount of plastics that go. So those are collected separately, and I forget the company that we turn it over to. The grass, however, is a little bit different.
Right.
And you will notice that there are bags sometimes.
That's one of
the challenges that we have, because we used to have something called waste removal operators, which used to come right after and pick it up. But that program was stopped in around 2018 somewhere.
Okay.
So I'm actually trying to get back some of that, because it's not a good thing when you clean to then have to see these bags.
Of course, because that defeats the whole purpose.
It defeats the purpose. And when they're rotting, they create methane gas, which is also not very good.
Right.
So we're looking at other areas, like things like composting, to be able to use, so that grass can be used
in
to
the same communities.
That's right. Absolutely.
Well, Mr. Eddy, let me say thank you for joining us this morning and for enlightening us a little bit about, some of the work that goes on behind the scenes when it comes to CEPEP and what it takes to actually keep the nation clean and make sure we stay safe after the carnival as well. Because, like you said, everybody was commenting on it, and I noticed it for sure. I noticed the cleanup during the carnival celebrations. I also noticed that on Wednesday morning when I was on my way to work. The streets were clean. So congratulations to you and the entire team.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for having me.
Not a problem. Ladies and gentlemen, Keith Eddy, the Chief Executive Officer at CEPEP, just sharing some information with us about cleaning up after Carnival 2024. Let's take a quick break and we come back with more inside the Now Morning Show. Stick around. It's going to be a great morning.